Hello there, ladies and gentlemen. This is your friendly neighborhood Oxhorn, and I'm here today with 19 of the best mods for the Railroad faction. For this list, I tried to find mods that were lore-friendly, thematic, and practical. I tried to choose mods that made weapons and armor more useful, made siding with the Railroad faction more practical, improved the textures of existing items, and all the while stayed true to the look and feel of the Railroad that Bethesda gave us. I didn't want to reinvent the Railroad into something else. I wanted to make sure that all of these mods fit into the Railroad as it exists already. Most of these mods are for the PC only, but I do include a few that are on the Xbox. Please check out the description of this video for links to all of the mods in this video, including versions that exist on the Xbox. Without further ado, here are the 19 mods. First on the list today is Railroad HQ by ELIANORA. This mod gives you your own little space inside the Railroad headquarters. It's a player home just for you, complete with a cat. By the way, don't attack the cat. If you do, everybody in the Railroad turns hostile. So here you are in the Railroad HQ, and as you can see, it's basically a tomb, and it's cluttered, and it's dirty. I kind of like it. It's got this sort of secret agent vibe to it, but there's no place for you. You know, if you go inside with the Brotherhood of Steel, you get your own quarters there. If you side with the Institute, you get your own quarters there. If you side with the Railroad, nothing. Sorry, Bubkiss. You're up the proverbial creek without the proverbial paddle. So, this is by ELIANORA. She made a little home for you, and she put it in this little alcove over here. So you've got a bed, you've got a bunch of storage over here, a place to put all your food, a filled fridge. Look at all of this wonderful food, a cooking stove. All of these do function, and they share workshop inventory. Here is a mirror where you can actually change your appearance if you want to. A working sink, even with flowing water. Look at that. A shower, a tub, a toilet, a working bathroom. It all looks good. And then over here in the corner, we've got a spot for all of your magazines that you find around the wasteland, a terminal for your holotapes, and so on and so forth. It's just really, really decked out well. This is a bobblehead rack for all of your bobbleheads. And it just looks amazing. You can store ammunition in ammo crates. You can store armor in these. These actually work as functioning containers. You can go ahead and, let's say I wanted to put my armored Minuteman outfit in there. I can store all of my apparel in here. So it works as a functioning container. It's a great little thing. It replaces this entire blank wall, which was previously unused by the Railroad. And it gives you a place to call your own in this headquarters. And I believe that all of these little workstations share inventory with all of the other workstations in the Railroad HQ. So let's test this out. I put a fragmentation grenade in there, and let's find a workstation. There's a chemistry station. Sorry, move it there, drummer boy. I gotta use this. And look at that. The fragmentation grenade is inside. So this is an essential mod. It makes the Railroad headquarters an actual viable place to spend the majority of your player's time if you decide to side with the Railroad. Next up is We Are the Railroad by XFREAKISH. This is an alternative to ELIANORA's mod, and it's a much more lightweight version. As you can see, the alcove to the right here is gone. That's because that was not originally in the settlement. In the headquarters, what this mod does is it just rearranges what's already here and gives you your own nook and cranny. So, as you can see, it's much cleaner. And if you go on over to this corner, here you are. This is your personal space. You've got a power armor station, a dog for dog meat, and your own bed, which, you know, the drawback is that Dr. Carrington is using it. The drawback is that people can sometimes walk by and use it, but I suppose that's the truth with even Minuteman settlements. Anyone can use it. You got a TV, a desk, and he's pretty much made this look like a nice, functioning little player home. Let's take the full grand tour. As you can see, Pam's area is much more clean. All of the desks are clean. The decals of paper and bricks on the ground are completely gone. Then let's see. There's a shower system over here. We've got an emergency shower right there, and then some more showers over here. You put a bathroom over here, just some added detail. Now, the one downside to this mod that I discovered right away is that none of the workshops are connected. So here's your power armor station. Let's put a fragmentation grenade, or actually a plasma grenade in there. And let's see if it connects to this one, and Bubkiss, nothing. Let's put a plasma grenade in this one and see if it connects to this one. Nothing. So each of these stations are standalone, which is pretty much a deal breaker for me. If I was trying to find a utilitarian functional mod, I would probably go with ELIANORA's, simply because it's going to be much more useful to use. That said, this mod only edits one ESP. There are no texture meshes or art assets that you have to download. It's incredibly lightweight, and it's going to be much more easy on, say, the Xbox or the PlayStation 4 if it ever comes out for the consoles. So, just thought I would share this one as an alternative player home mod for the Railroad. Next up is Railroad Paint for all power armors by Invok. The Railroad has one paint job for one suit of power armor, the T-51 suit. It's a handsome paint job. It's black with the Railroad logo on it, though I would say that the Railroad logo is extremely small. I would probably make it bigger, although it may be small because the Railroad is supposed to be a secretive, clandestine organization, so maybe that's why they're not broadcasting their logo. But anyway, it's only available on the T-51 suit. I still, to this day, don't understand why Bethesda only gave specific faction power armor paint jobs to only specific suits of power armor, considering that the player is going to be going through all of the different suits as he levels in the game. As a level 50 player, you want to rock your faction's paint job on an X01 suit of power armor, and with this mod, you can. The mod author painstakingly created a black paint job for every suit of power armor, including the tiny little white Railroad logo. Each suit still looks distressed, like it has been used, which I think fits into the world much better, and it's a welcome addition to this mod roundup. Thank you, Invok. Next up, and in a similar vein, is Railroad Brown Power Armor by Jamie1992. This mod gives your power armor a much more Railroad color scheme, in my personal opinion. The color scheme that comes in the game is just pure black. And it works. I understand why they did it. It's because you're supposed to be a stealthy character that does subterfuge. The Railroad is this behind-the-scenes organization. I get it. But the Railroad colors are much more earthy. Their headquarters is in a crypt with all this brown brick. They wear this Railroad uniform, which is brown leather with metal strapped to the inside. They use railway rifles, which are rusted brown. They've got this brown, earthy kind of theme going on. And the black, while nice, isn't the best fit. This mod gives you new Railroad paint jobs that give you a brown and black color scheme. It's not a replacer, so if you install this mod and the last one I talked about, you'll have two options in your power armor workstation: the traditional black Railroad paint job and the Railroad brown and black paint job. I love the way this mod looks. I particularly like the way that it makes the X01 helmet look. The contrasting brown and black on the helmet is really nice. He also made the Railroad logos a bit larger and colored the logos black on top of brown, which I actually think looks really great. The one thing I don't understand is, for some reason on the T60 set, I can't find the Railroad logo. It's not on the chest, and I haven't been able to find it anywhere else. Anyway, it's another wonderful addition to this mod roundup for those of you who would like more options with your Railroad power armor paint schemes. Thank you, Jamie1992. Next up is No Random Mercer Safehouse Location by EMBERQUILL. When you start going through the Railroad questline, you get to a point where you're told to establish a Mercer Safehouse. This is supposed to act as a safe place for synths to go when they escape from the Institute. The way it works in the game is, once you start this quest, Dr. Carrington randomly picks from one of 12 settlements that you have access to and permanently makes it your Mercer Safehouse. You don't have a choice as to which settlement he chooses. Now, the way this manifests in the game is you get a new map marker right on top of that settlement that says Mercer Safehouse, and the Railroad sends an immortal NPC called the Caretaker to that settlement. And that's really the only effect it has on your game. But in my game, it's pretty annoying. I made my player home at the Kingsport Lighthouse, and Dr. Carrington chose randomly the Kingsport Lighthouse to be my Mercer Safehouse. So now I've got this guy named the Caretaker walking around my Kingsport Lighthouse all the time, and even though I've destroyed the Institute, he's nervous, he's jittery, he's paranoid, he's kind of an annoying character. I'd love to get rid of him, but you can't move him, and really I'd have to use console commands or something to disable him, which I don't want to do. This mod fixes it so that you actually have an option for which settlement you want to make your Mercer Safehouse. Now it only works if you install it before you start doing the railroad line of quests. So this is a good one for when you want to start a new railroad playthrough. Install it very first thing, and then when you start going through the quests and you talk to Carrington, instead of picking a settlement for you, he gives you an option. You can choose which settlement you want to make your Mercer Safehouse. Great utilitarian bit of a mod there. Thank you, EMBERQUILL. Next on the list is Expanded Railway Rifle Mods by Surgical Scar. The iconic weapon for the railroad is the railway rifle. Underground Railroad, the railroad, railway, you know, it makes sense. But the rifle itself is not very practical. It's fun, it makes a cool choo-choo noise when you fire it, but I've never really used it in any of my builds because there are so many more practical weapons. This mod aims to change it by adding 5 new mods to the weapon. After installing the mod, head on over to your weapons workbench to install the mods on your rifle, and some of them do require some unique ammunition that you need to craft at your local chemistry station. That includes the explosive spike launcher and the irradiated railway rifle, the shielded chamber. Alright, so here we are at the firing range in the railroad headquarters, and I made a different gun with each of the different fittings. Let's try the let's try the fletchet launcher first. I believe this is supposed to work like a shotgun. Oh. So yeah, a pretty powerful shot that makes you reload after each shot taken. Alright, pretty cool. I love the railway rifle. Alright, let's try the high pressure receiver. This is the closest thing I think we would get to like a sniper rifle. Next, let's try the explosive spike launcher. Oh dear, what's this gonna be? Whoa! Is there an animation in the wall? Oh, and I'm done! I'm done! Oh no, I'm not done. Oh, it just knocked me back. Oh, okay, I thought that it killed me. Well, I wonder if I can kill myself. Let's try killing ourselves with the explosive spike launcher. Ooh, and it knocks me out. But it doesn't quite kill me. Oh, but I've got a crippled arm. That one's kind of fun. Alright, let's see what else have we got. The shielded chamber. This uses radioactive spikes. It's basically just like the regular gun, but an irradiated version. Ooh, and the spikes are green. Look at that. Oh, that's cool. So you can shoot radioactive spikes. It says that it does a little bit less damage than the normal gun, but it does additional radioactive damage. So this would basically be like an irradiated railway rifle is what this would be. Alright, the last one is the trip mine launcher. I read when I installed the mod that the trip mine launcher only worked when enemies walked by it. So let's go find an enemy. Alright, let's see what we can get into. It's funny that such a noisy weapon like the railway rifle would be used by such a secretive and covert faction like the railroad. Come get me. Oh! Oh, did you see that? It's basically like you shoot landmines. Come here, buddy. Whoa! Time to get out my sniper rifle. The high pressure receiver. Let's see how this works. Oh man, the rate of fire is really slow. But it is effective. It's got quite a lot of recoil on it. What is that? He's just standing there. There we go. Off with her head! Ooh. Look at all those spikes sticking out of her face. Ah, oh, that is sick. It sure does add a whole lot of diversity to the railway rifle, making it a much more fun gun to use. And it could potentially work in a railroad faction build. Particularly the high pressure receiver basically turns the railway rifle into a sniper rifle, which could potentially be practical. Next up is Retexture Railway Rifle by NiceDJ84. This mod completely retextures the way the railway rifle looks. The original look of the railway rifle is pretty rusted. It's got a brownish look to it, and the texture resolution is not very high. If you get too close to the rifle, it kind of looks splotchy and ugly. Not the best texture. NiceDJ has completely rebuilt the texture from the ground up. Instead of looking like rusted brown metal, it looks like it has been brushed clean. It looks like the way a railway rifle would look if it wasn't rusted, if it has been cleaned on a consistent basis. It still has scratches and wear and tear. It still has a lot of really nice detail, but it just looks like it has been cleaned up a little bit. He has an optional file that retextures the recon sight to match the look of the railway rifle. There is a distinct lack of retexture mods for the railway rifle, so thank you, NiceDJ, for your wonderful mod. Next up is Wattz Electronics Gauss Rifle Prototype by DIKR. In addition to the railway rifle, the railroad also likes to use the Gauss rifle. You find it on their agents all over the Commonwealth. The Gauss rifle is already one of the most interesting looking weapons in the entire game, and it's personally my favorite rifle. So it's hard to improve on something that's already so great, but this mod manages to do so. The mod author re-envisions the Gauss rifle as being produced by the Wattz Electronics company and brands the gun with their logo and colors. He includes brand new normal and specular maps, as well as a beautiful diffuse map for the gun. He has the Wattz logo etched into the silencer, and the receiver has a lovely orange Wattz logo on it. It comes with a variety of warning decals on the chamber and by the sights, and it has a wonderfully weathered appearance. It's an exceptional retexture by DIKR. Thank you very much. Another great option is Gauss Rifle Retexture by ALEXSCORPION. This is going to be a great one for those of you who don't really want Wattz Electronics branding all over your gun, but you still want an improved texture. This texture is beautiful. In particular, I love the scratches and weathering on the receiver. It's got a beautiful metallic blue color to it, aged by weather and use, and the stock looks like it's been burnished by constant use. This is a really high quality retexture by ALEXSCORPION. Thank you, Alex. Here's a fun one. This is called Gauss Rifle Remastered by WISEPLAEGUIS. This simple mod changes the sound effects that come with the Gauss gun. No sense describing them, let me show them to you. Here's what the original gun sounds like with the silencer on. And here's the mod with the silencer. Here's the original gun without the silencer. And here's the mod without the silencer. A pretty simple mod, might not be up everyone's alley, but it's a valiant sound effect effort by WISEPLAEGUIS and a worthy addition to this roundup. Thanks, Wise. Next up is Tinker Tom concept art by PERROAMARILLO. So if you took a look at any of the Fallout 4 concept art before the game came out, you'll notice that the original Tinker Tom looked much different. Bethesda originally envisioned him as this older gentleman with a gray beard. Of course, the Tinker Tom we got in the game is much different. This mod changes his appearance to look like the original concept art. When you visit Tinker Tom in the game, he's an older man with goggles on and a nice gray beard. The only downside is that the mod doesn't actually change his voice, so he still sounds like the original Tinker Tom. Take a listen.
Hey, I got everything you field agent types need, even a few Tinker Tom specialities.
What do you have in stock?
Well, it changes, depending on what's on hand. We lost everything when the switchboard went lights out. Hopefully our agents score more supplies in the field, so me and my boys can, make even more toys. Wanna see what we got?
Just browsing.
Whatever. We good.
Let me think about it.
Sure, man.
I don't think I could keep this installed for very long. So, there you go. Not necessarily an essential mod, but definitely worth a laugh. Next up is Deacon Outfit Change by I0BJHansen0. Now, Deacon is the only companion you get from siding with the Railroad, and he's a pretty interesting character. Really sarcastic, has a lot of funny dialogue. His shtick is that he's a liar, and he's constantly changing his costume to fit into a variety of circumstances. He's a chameleon. Incidentally, he kind of stalks you earlier in the game. You see him in Diamond City stalking you, and he's even got his own little lookout post above Vault 111. So he's an interesting character with a unique quirk, but the frustration is that if you try to dress him in armor that you want him to wear, he has the tendency to change out of it, which can be an issue if you want him to wear a full suit of combat armor or marine armor before going into a tough battle. He might just change out of it into some long johns or something horrible like that. This mod makes it so that he stops changing his clothes all the time. If you equip him with armor or clothing, he'll keep that on even when zoning in and out, and even after fast traveling. It's a small little change that is bound to give some players of the Railroad a little bit more happiness. Thank you, I0BJHansen0. Next up is Deacon Romance-ish by Seekskro. Now, as you know, you can romance certain individuals in the Commonwealth. Some of them can be permanent romantic companions, like Kate, Curie, and Piper, and others are more temporary romantic liaisons like Magnolia, or a certain robot from a certain hotel in Far Harbor. But not everyone can be romanced, and Deacon is within that category. He cannot be romanced. Now this has caused consternation within a certain element of the Fallout 4 player base, which happens to skew primarily female. For some reason, the ladies love Deacon. Maybe it's because he's so sarcastic, doesn't take anything seriously. Maybe it's because he's constantly lying. Or maybe it's just because Deacon says things like this.
Some dusty old philosopher thought people were made of metals that defined their character. And you, my friend, are solid gold.
All right, Deacon, you old smoothie, calm down. I don't know, I'm not a philosopher. I'm not gonna make broad generalizations about an entire demographic of people. I'll leave that to politicians. Anyway, Deacon is so fascinating to the fair sex that entire BuzzFeed articles have been written about how horrible it is that you can't romance Deacon. There's an entire Tumblr blog about romancing Deacon. Of course, there's a Tumblr blog about romancing Deacon. Well, ladies and gents, this mod is for you. Our very good Seekskro has made Deacon romanceable. This is a great mod to install before you maximize affinity with Deacon, but if you've already maxed affinity with Deacon, there are console commands you can use to trigger this mod and make him romanceable. The mod author provides those console commands in the description of the mod.
We absolutely couldn't have done it without you.
Next up is Railroad Uniform by SEPHARIS. I did an entire video dedicated to this costume because I love it so well. The Railroad comes with an armored coat as their primary uniform, which basically consists of some crumbling leather with some metal embedded into it. It's not that interesting, not that attractive, not my favorite costume at all. Many of the other factions have much better costumes in my opinion, and I felt that the Railroad was sadly lacking. Enter Railroad uniform by SEPHARIS. SEPHARIS has constructed a brand new costume that really fits the look and feel of the Railroad. It's a World War I era inspired trench coat that comes in two colors, chocolate and a more camel colored tan, and it's got all sorts of straps and harnesses attached to it for the secret agent on the go. It looks great on both male and female characters, and it's vanilla compatible, which means you do not need a unique body mod to get this to work. That said, it is not compatible with CBBE, and that's why I have created my own mod called Railroad Uniform CBBE Conversion. I did a conversion of this uniform because I liked it so well, so you can download this mod, install it, then if you use CBBE as your body in your game, just download my conversion, and then you should be able to get the Railroad uniform working on your characters. This mod also adds the Railroad uniform to the Railroad level list, so if you side with the Railroad in your gameplay and you go to military checkpoints, you're going to find Railroad agents using this uniform instead of just the traditional armored coat. It's a wonderful mod, thank you so much, SEPHARIS. But hey, maybe you actually like the look of the traditional Railroad armored coat, and if that's you, then consider using Railroad Armored Coat HD Retexture by DAMANIQUE. This mod completely retextures the Railroad armored coat, which is the default uniform for the Railroad, giving it a richer leather look. The leather no longer looks like it was patched together from old shoes. It looks rich, it's still cracking, it's still crumbling. That adds a little bit of realism to it. It's just a much more interesting texture for the coat. A great option for those of you who like the jacket and want to keep it, but simply want to improve the texture. Thank you, DAMANIQUE. Next up is the Agent outfit by ELLISE. The last two mods are really thematic. They keep in with the feel of the game. The Agent outfit has a more classical secret agent look and feel to it. The clothing is much more sleek. It's also a little bit more modern with some trendy waist sashes and some scarves. But it has a much sleeker appearance and looks like it would work really well as a covert secret ops costume. It also comes with a bag that the player character will wear on his or her back, and is an excellent fit for somebody who's really trying to do a stealthy, sneaky, lockpicking, sniper, backstabbing, Mr. Sandman sort of playthrough while siding with the Railroad. This costume works with both the vanilla body that came with Fallout 4 and CBBE. Thank you, ELLISE. Next up is Ultimate HD Flag Replacer by RHEADUDE. I featured this one in my Brotherhood of Steel mod video because it's got some of the best textures for flags that I've ever seen in a mod. There are a lot of great mods out there that change flag textures, but this one is my absolute favorite. And it does a really good job on the Railroad flag. Previously, the Railroad flag was a little bit unconvincing. The icon was gray and faded, and it almost looked like it had been stenciled on. The replacement is much more interesting. It looks like it has been scratch-built by an underground secretive organization like the Railroad, and the symbol for the Railroad is much more iconicized. It's much more symbolic. It looks like someone has taken a can of white paint and just quickly painted a little Railroad icon on the flag, which I absolutely love. This mod is a replacer and will replace all flags in the game that use the default Railroad flag textures and meshes. Thanks there, RHEADUDE. Great mod. And finally, we have the Automatron Robot Faction Paint Jobs by AKKWARD Mods. This mod allows you to give your robots that you create with the robot workstation that you get from the Automatron DLC with faction-specific paint jobs. They have a paint job for every single faction. I didn't include this mod with my Brotherhood of Steel video because they tend not to use robots too often, with the exception of Liberty Prime. And I didn't use it with my Institute one because they've got synths, and they have no need for pre-war robots. But I feel like it's a great fit for the Railroad because the Railroad is all about rescuing synths. They even have an internal debate about whether or not pre-war robots are sentient. And they have Pam, Pam is an Assaultron in the Railroad headquarters that does a lot of the processing and data analysis for the faction. So I figure it's going to be a great mod for the Railroad, and I think any Railroad playthrough is probably going to have settlements that are filled with not only synths but robots like these. This mod gives all of the different robots a dark black paint job with a Railroad logo in a variety of places. In this example, I'm showing you how it looks on the Assaultron, but it also works on the Retexture, the Mr. Handy, and all of the others. The logo comes in two versions, a white version and a gold version. The Railroad logo is particularly nice because it looks like it was poorly spray painted on with a bad stencil. The paint is running and everything. It looks great. So thank you for that mod, Awkward Mods. And there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. It seems every time I do a video like this, I get longer and longer, and I find more and more fun mods to show off. I just can't help myself. Thank you for sticking with me. I hope these mods are going to be useful to you. As I said at the beginning, I do provide links to all of the mods featured in this video in the description, as well as links to the Xbox versions when an Xbox version is available. If you don't see an Xbox link, that means that the mod is not available on the Xbox, sadly. So please scroll down the description to find the mod of your choice. If you like this video, if you found it useful, please subscribe for more of my Fallout 4 content. I work really hard on these videos, and your subscriptions make it all worthwhile. I produce a new video every single day of the week, including weekends, so subscribe to find out what I produce tomorrow. If you like what I do and you want to support me in a more personal way, consider becoming one of my patrons on Patreon. Patreon subscribers get access to my private Discord server, as well as a bunch of other cool Oxhorn perks. But more than anything, ladies and gentlemen, I'm just so glad that you're here watching this video. Thanks for watching, everybody, and I'll see you bright and early tomorrow morning with a brand new video.